Hey, what's going on, guys? Room Gaming here, back with another video. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a quick look at all of the healer changes coming to 11.1. I just dropped a tier set video. You've probably already seen that one. So now we're going to talk about the actual class and spec changes coming into Season 2. So first major one I want to talk about, Druid's going to be always the first one on the list. So Restoration Druid here. Minor change here, Improved Nature Cures now learned at level 10. So that's fine. That was a talent. So this does free up a talent point for us if you were speccing into Nature's Cure. We also have Mastery Harmony. Effectiveness is increased by 30%. Now reduces its bonus with each additional heal over time effect. So the more hots you have on a target, the less effectiveness that we get out of our Mastery Harmony. And I think this is going to be pretty good for Resto Druid because the front end is so strong, that 30% buff, that it's going to help us out with a burst healing a little bit, especially in Mythic Plus. That's one of the things that Resto Druid kind of struggles with, is we have a lot of setup. So I think this will actually be a good change for us. So it's more healing on the front end and less healing kind of on the back end is kind of how I look at this one. We also have, looks like they're still trying to work out Tranquility. The channel time's reduced to 5 seconds. It was 8. The total healing is unchanged. So that means we get more healing in less time. To be honest, to see any play from Tranquility, I think it will have to go even lower than this. I think it'll have to go to 3 seconds or less. 5 seconds is still a really long time to spend on a cooldown that can be interrupted. You can get stunned. Things happen, you get knocked up, whatever. 5 seconds is a long time to be stationary in Mythic Plus. So I don't think this is too big of a change. Another really nice change is Nature's Swiftness now increases the healing of regrowth by 200%. Was 100%. So this is going to be really strong because Nature's Swiftness, if you use that in front of a Convoke window, Nature's Swiftness will buff all the regrowths in the Convoke window. So now those are getting buffed by 200% instead of 100%. So this is a really nice change. We also have Flourish here. It now causes an initial heal effect on affected allies, split evenly among them. So there is some burst healing that kind of comes out of Flourish when you press it. And then we also have all damage reduced by 20%. So to be honest, I feel like we're currently doing the 0 to Keystone Hero challenge on Resto Druid. I feel like they do a significant amount of damage in their caster form. I'm not playing Wild Stalker. I'm playing Keeper of the Grove at the moment, and I feel like they do a significant amount of damage compared to some of the other healers. So this might be warranted, to be honest. I hate to see a nerf to healer in any aspect ever, but since it's not nerfing our healing and they are pulling above all the other healers by quite a bit, just based on what I'm seeing, I'm not talking about logs or anything, I'm not sure, but based on what I've been playing, my Resto Druid has done more damage than any other healer that I've played by far. So, this could be warranted. Kind of taking a look at some of the talents here. I'm not going to read through all of them. A lot of them are kind of minor, like Typhoon Radius and stuff. We do have Symbiotic Relationship here. This is going to be a new talent. Form a bond with an ally. Your self-healing also heals your bonded ally for 10% of the amount healed. Your healing to your bonded ally also heals you for 8% of the amount healed. It's almost like a Holy Paladin beacon of light that goes on you and them. So you heal them, you get healing. You heal yourself, they get healing, which is pretty cool. Now, we did talk a little bit earlier about the damage being nerfed for Resto Druid across all forms. However, it does look like the Feral form is getting some buffs here with Shred, Swipe, Ferocious Bite. So Feral is not getting as big of a hit as the Caster form seems to be for Resto Druid. So they might be pushing that direction a little bit more. And then we're also seeing some small buffs to like Rejuvenation, 5% increase to Wild Growth. So that's pretty welcome. Oh, and then another talent here that I did miss. A new talent called Grievous Wounds. Rake, Rip, and Thrash damage are increased by 10%. So it looks like they're going to be pushing Feral Druid quite a bit more instead of the Caster form from a damage perspective. Overall, though, for Restoration Druid, I didn't think there's going to be any sort of like major overhaul. It just seems to be some small tweaks here and there. Okay, so then we have Evoker. So we have Flame Shaper, which I'm not sure, to be honest. I've never played Flame Shaper, so I'm not sure if these are good changes or not. But from what I've been hearing, it's supposed to be getting a buff. So let's just assume Flame Shaper is getting a buff, whether that's better than Chrono Warden or not. I have no clue. I kind of looked through here. I didn't see any changes to Chrono Warden at all. But we did see some small buffs here. So this is kind of a quality of life change, this first one here. Dream Breath now heals yourself and 5 injured allies. This was just 5 injured allies. So the developer notes on this guarantees a Dream Breath heal over time effect will always be on yourself. So you never have to purposely miss allies so that you can get hit with Dream Breath as well. So I think that's more of a raid change than anything else. And then we also have some changes here to Dream Breath and Reversion. So they no longer snapshot with Mastery Lifebinder. So each time that ticks, it's going to reevaluate the Mastery bonus that you get in real time. So yeah, overall for Pres Evoker, if you're playing Chrono Warden and if Chrono Warden is meta for us, it looks like there's pretty much no changes. There has been some nerfs though to Augmentation. I will say this, and this will, Pres Evoker competes with Augmentation Evoker for a spot. So if Augmentation ends up getting nerfed even more, we might see Pres Evoker take one of the few top spots in the healing pool. But Augmentation Evoker, from what I've been reading, is still as good as it's been. I mean, it's not quite as good because it's been nerfed, but it's still like top spot. People are still using it for top end keys. So the main change that happened to them was this Ebon Might here. So Ebon Might no longer affects tanks or healers, which is really good at high end keys due to all the survivability that they were bringing to the group. Your tank was just so much more tanky. Your healer could pump out so much more healing that it allowed groups to pool so much bigger than any other group possible. And that's where you see the play from Augmentation is that's why Augmentation isn't as good in pugs, because technically you're not pulling quite as much damage. But if you pull an extra pack or two, then you are doing more overall damage. But in a pug environment, the tank is normally just going from pack to pack to pack. So you actually lose a little bit of damage. But, in high-end content, that's just not the case. They're pulling 3-4 packs at a time. So we'll see what happens here. Again, from what I've been reading, Augmentation Evoker is still insane. But, we'll just see how tuning kind of pans out over the PTR. Let's go ahead and move on to the next healer. Okay, finally, Mistweaver Monk. Looks like paralysis now breaks on small damage threshold instead of any damage. Then developers notes here. We're making several updates to Mistweaver focused on smoothing out their healing output on varying target sizes and shifting rotational damage priority to a more intuitive space. When players should optimally use each offensive spell to be more obvious. I kind of like this. Well, sometimes it's confusing, like when should you Rising Sun kick, Blackout kick, Tiger Palm versus when you should Spinning Crank kick. It's kind of confusing, to be honest. So I think that might be where they're going with this. So it looks like we have a new talent here. Let me read through some of this real quick, see what's useful here and what's not. So new talent, Emperor's Favor, Shaylin's Gift. Healing is increased by 150% and its cast time reduced by 100%, but now only heals a single ally. So it sounds like they're trying to turn this into a lay on hands. So that will be interesting. That could be really strong if you continue to get the orbs just as quick as you used to, because you typically stack up a Shaylin's Gift pretty dang quick. So we could be getting like a lay on hands every 30 seconds. Dance of Wind's been redesigned, now reduces physical damage taken by 10%, additional 10% every 4 seconds until you receive a physical attack. Okay, Jade Empowerment was redesigned, increases crackling Jade Lightning's damage by 2,000% to its primary target, and cleaves 4 additional at 25% effectiveness. So I'm not sure what the tuning is on it now, but that seems like a pretty big change. Looks like they're wanting to make this more of a single target, but at 25% effectiveness of this. So okay, I think this will still do a decent amount of AoE cleave damage. Okay, and here's some of the changes. So Yu'lon's Whisper got increased, the healing from that's kind of nice. Blackout kick damage increased by 75%. Spinning Crane kick increased by 30%. And then where the big change here is here with Jadefire Awakening. Now causes Blackout Kick to cleave 2 additional enemies at 20% effectiveness was 70%. So this means Blackout Kick is now better in single target than it was due to it just doing less AoE damage now, but more single target damage. And then Spinning Crane Kick got buffed by 30%. I like this because I like pressing Spinning Crane Kick. It's a fun button to press. And the more healing that we can do with Spinning Crane Kick, whether it's 2 mobs, 3 mobs, 4 mobs, I don't care. It's a button I like to press. I don't know why. So I do like this change. It's also a little bit more straightforward on, when you should be pressing Spinning Crane Kick versus the Blackout Kick reset sort of loop that you do. So I believe you had Spinning Crane Kick at 4+ targets. And now I would assume you would Spinning Crane Kick at 3 or more targets. But again, we'll just kind of have to see. Then it looks like they've done some tuning here to Chi-Ji the Red Crane. And Shaylin's gift talent location was moved around. All right, next on the list is going to be Holy Paladin here. So it looks like overall... Okay, Seal of the Crusader healing is reduced by 50%. Looks like we're seeing this kind of across the board, this Blinding Light and Repentance, this threshold of damage for like when that breaks. It looks like there's going to be a threshold for when a lot of this CC goes out. It doesn't just break on anything. That's kind of nice. But I don't see anything too crazy in these bullet points here. Let's go ahead and move on to Holy. Okay, new talent, Unbound Freedom. Blessing of Freedom increases movement speed by 30%, and you gain Blessing of Freedom when cast on a friendly target. That's kind of nice. Choice node with Echoing Blessings. That Unending Light has been redesigned and now causes holy power spent on Word of Glory to increase the healing of Light of Dawn. Then Unending Light has been redesigned and now causes holy power spent on Word of Glory to increase the healing of Light of Dawn. This will be nice because Light of Dawn is a dead spell for us in Mythic Plus. We're heavily reliant on Word of Glory. So this will be interesting. I'm not sure if it's going to be based on like a charge-based system, if it's going to be based on the more healing that you do through Word of Glory. That healing is then reflected into your Light of Dawn. Just have to see. But I would assume that this is going to be something, another weak aura we have to download and track how powerful your next Light of Dawn is. You only use it over a certain amount of charges, that sort of deal. But I do like it. Light of Dawn has been dead for a pretty long time, and I would like to see that in Mythic Plus, especially because Holy Paladin does lack a little bit of AoE spread healing. They're more of like a spot healers, their sort of role. So yeah, I don't know. This could be good. Light's Conviction now additionally causes Holy Shock to refund half its mana cost when cast offensively. Okay, I mean, we're not Holy Shocking offensively too much, so this is not an insane change, to be honest. But, we'll take it. Flashlight mana cost reduced to 0.6%. Base mana was 1.8%. So Flash of Light is now cheaper. Okay, maybe this will make sense in a minute. Flash of Light is already insanely cheap to press, and it's already so weak. It's not even worth to press it hardly right now because it doesn't do any healing. You heal through Holy Light for the most part. Flash of Light healing is decreased by 25%. Okay. Holy Light's healing is increased by 90%. Okay. Then Infusion of Light now increases the healing of the Holy Light by 30%, was 100%. So I think what they're trying to do is free up our Holy Lights to where we don't have to cast them during an Infusion of Light proc, which is, that's pretty nice. So now overall, we're actually getting more healing when Infusion of Light is up. We're getting 90% plus 30 for 120% versus 100%. So overall, that's a buff to Holy Light. I know a lot of people don't like playing around Holy Light, but I think Holy Paladin fits this weird role between caster and melee, and I don't know why Blizzard's decided that. Typically, it's you're all caster or you're all melee, and we're kind of fitting this sort of hybrid role at the moment. Then down here, it looks like there's some more changes. Infusion of Light now increases the healing of Flash of Light by 30%. Yeah, because before it would just reduce the mana cost of Flash of Light. So, okay, so we're getting basically a 5% buff on Flash of Light through if Infusion of Light is up. You'll never cast Flash of Light outside of Infusion of Light. And it's basically going to be free to cast, 0.6% base mana. It was already super cheap. So, to be honest, I'm not sure what's going on here. I feel like Flash of Light needs to be way stronger for us to even consider pressing it. I wish it kind of fit this role in between Holy Light. I wish Holy Light was the cheap, strong heal, and Flash of Light was the strong, expensive heal. That way, if I need immediate healing, I can just spam Flash of Lights, top up the group. But right now, I'm focusing, when big healing is needed, I'm focusing more on Holy Lights rather than Flash of Lights. And I wish that role was kind of reversed. I think Holy Paladin would feel better if I could just pump out Flash of Lights, do a whole bunch of healing. Even if it hurts my mana, that's okay. I want that quick healing. Okay, so just moving on, I guess. Inflorescence of Sunwell now increases Infusion of Light's healing increase to Flash of Light by an additional 15%. So Inflorescence of Sunwell, I believe, gave an extra charge of Infusion of Light. So Infusion of Light can actually stack to 2. I think it does something with Judgment and increases the value of Greater Judgment. So Flash of Light gets beefed up by another 15% through this. So we're actually getting 45% increased healing from Flash of Light. And then, so Flash of Light's basically getting 15% stronger if you add this all up, then subtract the 25% from it. Excuse me, it's getting 20% stronger. So that's pretty nice, I think. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. I think Flash of Light has to get like 100% stronger for us to even consider pressing it. But I guess we'll see what happens. Moving on, where are we at? Let's go to the developer notes. Oh, Inflorescence of Someone now increases the healing of Holy Light by an additional 15%. Was 50%, so 65%. So, now I know a lot of people are not going to like these changes, but to be honest, Holy Light right now, both Flash of Light and Holy Light right now feel bad to press, in my opinion, in Mythic Plus. But with these changes, with Inflorescence of the Sunwell, Holy Light's getting stronger. Flash of Light, I think, will still be trash, but Holy Light is getting stronger, so I think that's at least a good thing. Even though it's not going in the direction of pure melee healer that a lot of people want to see it go, I think Holy Paladin is going to get a little stronger with these changes. Holy Light will be a good button to press. And let's take a look at the developer notes here. This might add some clarity here. Flash of Light and Holy Light have a lot of power tied into talents modifying their effectiveness, and we'd like these spells to be more effective to cast without these talents, and casting these spells without Infusion of Light active to be a more viable option. That's just not true. Because, I mean, for Holy Light, that's true because you increased its base healing by 90%. But Flash of Light, its base value is reduced by 25%. So Flash of Light is now worse to press out of Infusion of Light. And it's actually stronger to press inside of Infusion of Light. So I think they're still backwards on Flash of Light. This needs to get massively buffed. And then Holy Light, I think, is in an okay spot. I know a lot of people, again, might not agree on this caster-based system, but that's the direction they're going. So at least there is some good coming out of this, I guess. And then down here under Lightsmith, it looks like Hammer and Anvil healing has been increased by 20. And then Blessed Assurance now increases the damage of Crusader Stark by 20%, was 180%. Okay, I think I spent enough time on Holy Paladin. Let's go ahead and move on to, I know, like Holy, oh my gosh. I know there's been some other big changes with Priest. Let's go and check out Disc now. And I'm not going to read everything here because this is a lot, but we'll go over some of the main stuff here. So let's read the goal. The goal of these changes is to reduce the number of cooldowns Disc has access to and bake some of that power into other abilities. In addition, we're resolving some pain points in the talent tree and making it easier to quickly get atonements on allies by moving Overloaded with Light into a more central location. Finally, we're re-theming Purge the Wicked into a shadow spell so that Twilight Equilibrium can be more consistently activated. So I don't think Overloaded with Light will affect us too much. I think that has to do with Ultimate Penitence, and I don't think we'll be taking that in Season 2. We could be, but that's just going to be a way for us to spread our atonement easily with that spell. So I don't think that's going to affect us too much. And then Purge the Wicked into a shadow spell so that Twilight Equilibrium can be more consistently activated. That's a slight buff. So we're actually getting a buff to Smite, which is really sick. So Smite extends the duration of an active atonement by 3 seconds. That is absolutely insane. That will be so dang strong. And basically, the way that I see it, as long as you can Smite, you can keep atonement up on your entire party. It should never fall off. Now, it will, of course, as you go to pack, but it sounds like you can Powered Radiance and then just go through a normal rotation, and atonement shouldn't fall off. So this is really nice to see this. And then Smite also reduces the cooldown on Penance as well. So Smite is just double dipping into multiple talents at this point. And yeah, I mean, huge win here. We also have a new talent, Inner Focus. Flash Heal, Powered Shield, Penance, Powered Radiance, and Powered Life have a 20% increased chance to critically heal. So, I mean, that's really strong too. So far, Disc Priest has some of the best changes that I've seen so far. This is all really, really good. Purge the Wicked renamed. Now causes Shadow Word Pain to spread instead of overriding Shadow Word Pain with a new spell. So now we can Shadow Word Pain and Purge the Wicked at the same time. So I guess you will Shadow Word Pain, then Purge the Wicked on top of that to spread the Shadow Word Pain, then Penance on top of the Purge the Wicked to spread that. It's kind of what it sounds like to me. And then it looks like Evangelism is getting a small rework as well. So right now, Evangelism extends our atonements by 6 seconds. So now Evangelism will heal all targets affected by atonement for 4,200% of spell power, split amongst targets healed. Evangelism continues to extend atonement by 6 seconds, and its visual has been updated. Oh, so this is just added bonus. So Evangelism will continue to extend that atonement by 6 seconds. So yeah, so Evangelism getting a huge buff. And to be honest, this will probably be the talent that we take now, because I think Evangelism is only on like a 1.5 minute cooldown. So Evangelism will probably come into play with these changes. And if it's not meta, it's still a viable option if you just want another big button to press to do a bunch of healing. Contrition is now baseline and now logs as Penance Healing. So Contrition was a talent that we're not taking right now, so we don't free up a talent point. But since it is baseline, we do get the passive buff, and this just makes our Penance do essentially more healing to all targets with Atonement on them. Penance and Healing now triggers Divine Aegis, so this is another talent that when Penance does Critical Strike, it will put a small protective shield out on the target. So this is, again, another talent that we're getting passively. Looks like we're getting buffs to Power Word Shield Absorption, so increased by 15%. Powered Radiance Healing Radius increased to 40 yards was 30. Luminous Barrier Healing increased by 20%. Then Indemnity increases the duration of atonement applied by Power Word Shield by 4 seconds was 3 seconds. Kind of this recurring theme that we're seeing here with just increased duration on our atonement. So really nice to see that. Ultimate Penitence now shields the priest for 100% of their health was 50%. So they're really trying to push this spell now. Will be interesting to see. I wish they would have freed up some talent points rather than giving us like Contrition, which is nice to have. But if they want us to play with this talent here, they're going to have to give us some talent points back, I think, to put into it. So, but still really nice to see that this is getting buffed. Smite damage increased by 25%. That's just more healing through Atonement. Smite is just absolutely insane right now, I guess. Shadow Ward Pain damage increased. Developers notes, Shadow Ward Pain should be an important part of Disc's healing on atonement targets to provide a steady stream of healing over time. Its damage has been weaker than we would like, especially compared to other spells in the kit like Entropic Rift. So we're bringing it up and reducing Entropic Rift's damage. Okay, I've not seen that yet. This has a side effect of boosting Oracle's damage comparatively to Voidweaver. So this is interesting. Oracle could come into play here with Entropic Rift getting nerfed. I don't know how much it's getting nerfed by. I haven't read that yet. But I will say this. One thing with Oracle right now, Oracle doesn't have atonement issues. It's only Disc Priest. So all these changes that they're making to atonement, I mean, it's going to be somewhat nice for Oracle, but for the most part, these changes seem to be impacting Voidweaver more than Oracle. So, but yeah, all the smite damage, that will also affect Oracle. Shadow Ward Pain changes, like we just read, that will affect Oracle. Looks like a slight buff to Pain and Suffering here. Void Summoner not only triggers from Mind Blast and Penance cast, Void Summoner reduces the cooldown of Shadow Fiend by 8 seconds, or Mindbender by 4. It was 4 seconds and 2 seconds. So, I mean, that's just even better, because now we're going to get more uptime on our Mindbender and Shadow Fiend. So, yeah, I mean, Shadow Priest Disc Priest is going to be absolutely busted. Divine Aegis no longer triggers. Okay, so some changes to Divine Aegis there. Now displays on raid frames. Ultimate Penitence has swapped positions with Castigation in the talent tree. Okay, so I was waiting for something like this. I was like, this is not in... It's in too deep on the tree for us to be able to just spec into it. So, Castigation. Let's see where that is. Okay, so Castigation's in the middle of the tree here. So, Ultimate Penitence and Castigation will basically swap places here. So, that will be very interesting. I don't know if that's enough for us to take it, because Heaven's Wrath is still so far down here to get the big CDR on this. But, you know, I do like this being in the center of the tree more than down here in the bottom left, just kind of randomly. Oh, okay, and if I keep reading, Heaven's Wrath has been removed. Rapture has been removed. Train of Thought has been removed. Holy smokes. Okay, so this means that Smite does not give us any more CDR on our Penance. Rapture, one of our biggest cooldowns, has been removed. That's interesting. And then Heaven's Wrath, which is what would give CDR on Ultimate Penitence, that has been removed as well. Very interesting, though, because it doesn't talk about... So Rapture's been removed, but it doesn't say anything about Exaltation here, which gives Rapture 2 additional shields. So was this removed as well? Very interesting. So that might free up a talent point. So we got 1 talent point being freed up, 2 talent points being freed up. So maybe we will go into Heaven's Wrath now to take Ultimate Penitence, Castigation, Heaven's Wrath. Maybe these are the 3 nodes they're kind of wanting us to focus on. Okay, let's check out Oracle. New talent, Twin Sight. 3 additional Penance bolts are fired at an enemy within 40 yards when healing an ally of Penance, or fired at an ally within 40 yards when damaging an enemy with Penance. Premonition now has 2 charges baseline, and then Divine Providence has been removed. So I don't know what this is being replaced with, because this is from the hero talent tree. So I don't know. Maybe Twin Sight is what replaces Divine Providence. Yeah. So these 2. So if we look at Divine Providence really quick, that's down here. So Twin Sight, I'm assuming, will take that node. This is pretty nice, because basically we're getting a free talent to basically put into into Penance here, into Twin Sight. Because we're still keeping the 2 charges baseline that was granted from Divine Providence. So decent win, I guess, for Oracle, but I don't know if that will be enough. And then finally, Voidweaver Entropic Rift damage reduced by 20%. So I think we're going to see a lot of balance here now between Oracle and Voidweaver. The main issue that Voidweaver had was keeping Atonement up. The main issue that Oracle had was it didn't have the throughput that Voidweaver had. So they're kind of making some decent balance changes there, I guess. I don't know how this is going to affect things. This is like crazy. I thought that Disc Priest was absolutely cooking until I read this. So I still think overall Disc Priest will be in a pretty good spot. I mean, a lot of these changes are just absolutely huge. So, yeah, I think Disc Priest has a pretty good win here, to be honest. Being able to keep permanent atonement up will be really nice. Okay, so we also have Holy Priest, which has a huge rework as well. Let's read the notes. We're aiming to provide a better experience with Divine Hymn while pulling back on the number of raid cooldowns available to the specialization. Yeah, there's a lot of buttons to press. We're also doing some consolidation in the tree by removing Circle of Healing and adding more interactions with Prayer of Healing. Yeah, Prayer of Healing is not something that we press. Finally, we're looking to provide options for a gameplay style centered around renew uptime in addition to existing play styles. Okay, I don't know if anybody was really asking for that. seems a little far-fetched, but okay, let's read through this monstrosity here real quick. So several talents have been moved around. Expected new talent, Lasting Words. Holy Word Serenity applies 12 seconds of renew to its target, and Holy Word Sanctify applies 4 seconds of renew to allies it heals. So renew's just kind of being given to us through other spells, so that's pretty cool. So we can get renews out without wasting GCDs on it. We'll take it. New talent, Light in the Darkness, increases the healing done by Holy Word Serenity and Holy Word Sanctify by 20 to 40%. Increases the radius of Holy Word Sanctify by 15 to 30%. So it looks like we're getting huge buffs to our spot healing, just our Holy Words in general, and also getting that radius increase, which is pretty dang nice. One of the things that Holy Priest has really lacked is AoE healing. So that's one of the things that they really, really need. So I'm hoping to see some changes in regards to that. Being able to throw out renews will help our AoE healing if that is a playstyle that we go for. Just more passive healing that's just kind of ticking for us. New talent, Dispersing Light. 6% of healing done with Heal, Flash Heal, and Power Word Life is replicated to 4 injured allies within 40 yards. So again, more passive AoE healing. That's what the spec needs. I'm glad to see that. New talent, Divinity. Your healing is increased by 10% while Apotheosis is active. When you activate Apotheosis, your next 3 heal or Prayer of Healing cast are instant and heal for 25% more. So Apotheosis is just getting absolutely juiced here. There's also some changes in the tier set bonus as well with Apotheosis. So this is like a ton is being synergized into Apotheosis, a ton of our power. So it is kind of neat to see Prayer of Healing being instant cast through Apotheosis, but I wish, we'll see in the rest of these talents, but I wish Prayer of Healing was not tied to Apotheosis. I wish we could get instant cast procs of that outside of Apotheosis. Maybe we will. Let's keep reading. Okay, your Holy Words extend the duration of Apotheosis by 1.5 seconds. That's really nice. If we're putting so much power into Apotheosis, I'd like to get extended duration on it and CDR on it. New talent, Holy Celerity, reduces the cooldown of your Holy Words by 15 seconds. That's really dang strong. A new talent, Empowered Renew. Renew reduces the cooldown of Sanctify by an additional 6 seconds and heals for 60% more when cast, but has a 12-second cooldown. So I would assume that this is going to be something that you throw up on a tank, or if somebody gets like a big dot on them that's doing a whole bunch of ticking rot damage to them, you can throw an Empowered Renew on them and it will negate a lot of those effects. 12-second cooldown, that would be a pretty fun button to press, I think. Then it looks like we're getting some updates to Voice of Harmony here. Power Word Life now also reduces the cooldown of Holy Word Serenity. And then Divine Star and Halo now reduce the cooldown of Holy Word Sanctify. So this is nice. We're getting more CDR on our Holy Words, which is the core of our gameplay. So that is probably going to be pretty dang strong. We also have Seraphic Crescendo has been redesigned and moved from PvP talents to the Holy Tree. Now reduces the cooldown of Divine Hymn by 60 seconds choice node, 60 seconds, choice node against Gales of Song. Now, Gales of Song is not something that we're taking, but I do see right below that Gales of Song has been redesigned. Let's take a look at this. While channeling Divine Hymn, place 2 stacks of Prayer of Mending on up to 3 allies within its range every 1 second. Prayerful Litany has been redesigned and now causes the primary target of Prayer of Healing to be healed for 75% more. So I don't know which one we'll take here, but it sounds like Gales of Song would be stronger because of the stacks of Prayer of Mending that go out. If we do get canceled early, we'll have a whole bunch of Prayer of Mendings that will be out, and we will continue to get use out of those versus Crescendo here with that 60-second CDR. So we'll have to see what happens there. Huge buff, 8%. Oh, huge nerf. All healing reduced by 8%. Read that wrong. Holy Mending healing increased by 30%. Getting big buffs to Prayer of Healing. It's increased by 40%. Prayer of Healing mana cost reduced by 25%. Prayer of Healing cast time is increased. It's 2.5 seconds instead of 2. So it looks like Prayer of Healing is not going to be something that's meant to be spammed. But when we do need that emergency healing, it looks like this will be the button that we do press. 2.5 second cast time is a lot, though, to be honest. So we'll have to see how that feels. And then, yeah, just kind of looking through the rest of this, I don't see anything else that's super major. I mean, there are some significant changes here, but I don't think anything that is going to really change the core of how Holy Priest plays. Tons of talent changes, visual updates, things like that. Lots of talents have been removed. So yeah, I guess just kind of a quick recap here on everything. So Holy Words have been buffed, which is pretty nice. We did get a flat healing nerf of 8%, but overall I think we're still getting a whole bunch of additional healing through our Holy Words. We're getting Renew kind of worked into the mix. So it looks like this flat nerf will impact our Lightweaver talent the most through Flash Heal and Heal, how we kind of go back and forth between those two. Those will get hit a little, but in return, we will get some more AoE healing, and we'll get some more passive healing as well, so we won't have to hopefully rely on those quite as much. And it looks like we're getting a whole bunch of power kind of funneled into Apotheosis, so that will be kind of interesting. Apotheosis I thought was already pretty dang strong, so I'm not going to complain about that. I wish some of the power was taken out of Apotheosis though, so that we could be more flexible outside of that cooldown. But, you know, not going to complain too much. It will just be very interesting to see how this Renew stuff kind of works and how Prayer of Healing will feel. Again, 2.5 seconds is a long time. So I wish there was something that would reduce the cast time of that a little. That looks like we might get a new big button, I guess you could say. Gales of Song with Divine Hymn. I think Divine Hymn, this might be enough to make it like a better feeling button to press. We just saw with Restoration Druid, they're trying to make some changes to Tranquility as well. I don't think it's enough for Tranquility, but this might be enough for Divine Hymn here. Oh, and another thing that I'm seeing here is Lightweaver can also be consumed by Prayer of Healing in addition to Heal. So I don't know what that means, but... Oh, and Lightweaver can now accumulate up to 4 charges, was 2. Okay, I'm going to look at this a little bit more. Prayer of Healing now prioritizes injured targets instead of the closest targets, and then some visual updates to Prayer of Healing. So this means Prayer of Healing might work into that Lightweaver rotation where you go... I believe it's Flash Heal, Heal. Let me think about that. Maybe it's Flash Heal, Heal. I think it's 2 and 2 is kind of how it works. Nope, I was wrong. It's 2 Flash Heals into a heal. I can't exactly remember. But a Prayer of Healing works into that mix, and it stacks up to 4. That's the additional CD. That's the additional reduced cast time that I was wanting. So this could be really good for Holy Priest. I like this. I think everything here is pretty good changes overall for Holy Priest. Getting that additional AoE healing, taking a little bit of focus out of Flash Heal and Heal, pretty stale abilities to be casting so much in a dungeon. Overall, huge win for Holy Priest. Okay, and then finally, we have Restoration Shaman here. So this will be the last one that we look at. And then, yeah, that'll be pretty much it for this one, I guess. So let's read developers' notes. Our updates to Restoration Shaman are focused on simplification, condensing keybind space, adding support for Riptide focused builds. Okay, that's huge. Resto Shaman, I have probably, I would say, 10 to 15 more buttons to press than the next healer in line in terms of like the most keybinds. So that's really good to read. Hopefully they're just removing some buttons in general, maybe combining some stuff. So we'll take a look at it. New talent, Mana Tide. Healing Tide Totem now additionally grants 80% increased mana regeneration to allies. Okay, so there we go. Two talents, totems, whatever, 2 buttons have been combined into one right there. So that's really nice. Therazane's Resilience, Earth Shield, and Water Shield no longer lose charges and are 115% effective. Okay, so we're refreshing Earth Shield and Water Shield constantly throughout the dungeon, so they have a place for a keybind on your keyboard, right? You have to keybind those. So now, I guess since they don't lose charges, Earth Shield and Water Shield to come off a keybind, you just put it up like a normal buff, set it, and forget it. Now with Earth Shield, you may want to keep that on the keybind or something. You might want to move that around a little bit throughout the dungeon based on who's taking damage, but for the most part, you're not going to have to be refreshing those too much. New talent, Whispering Waves. 10% of Healing Waves healing is duplicated onto each of your targets with Riptide. So is that like a built-in Primordial Wave? It's kind of what it looks like. Let me just look real quick. Healing Wave. Yeah, talent's removed. Okay, here we go. So Mana Tide was removed because that was combined up here with the Mana Tide, Healing Tide Totem talents. Primordial Wave. There it is. So Primordial Wave was removed. This is huge. I don't know if a single person who liked prepping a Primordial Wave window. It wasn't fun. So this is a really welcome change. I don't think anybody's going to be complaining about that. And Healing Wave has turned into a pretty efficient spell for us because it already does a fair amount of single target healing. It's pretty efficient spell to press. So it also does AoE healing now, I guess, just passively. So keeping 5 Riptides up shouldn't be super hard either. So, lots of passive healing that's just going to kind of come out through Healing Wave. Healing Wave is now learned at level 11, so that is no longer a talent, so that frees up a talent point. Wave Speaker's Blessing now additionally increases the periodic healing of a Riptide by 10 to 20%. So I'm not sure if that's more of like a raid change, but in the Totemic Tree, we weren't really taking Wave Speaker's Blessing, so it increased the duration of Riptide by 3 seconds, so this might be a talent that we take now. Spirit Walker's Tidal Totem now triggers after casting Healing Tide Totem. So that is going to essentially give us those instant cast healing surges. So we can drop a Healing Tide Totem and we'll get instant cast healing surges that also have reduced mana cost. So if you're wondering where that talent is in the tree, it's going to be this node right here. Downpour now overrides Healing Rain for 8 seconds, was 6 seconds. So when you drop your Healing Rain, if you have this talent, you have a 6-second window that is now 8 seconds to activate Downpour on top of it, which will do a big burst of healing. It's also really nice to just do it regardless of the healing because it increases their max health to all the people getting hit by the Downpour. So makes your group a little bit more tanky. Ancestral Vigor is now a 2-point talent. So I know we had Healing Wave freed up here. So I don't know if that extra point's now going to have to go into Ancestral Vigor. It didn't say anything about buffing this talent. So I assume that extra point, they're just wanting to do something with it essentially. So looks like it's going into Ancestral Vigor now. And we already talked about Healing Wave getting removed and Mana Tide Totem being combined with Healing Tide Totem and then Primordial Wave getting removed. Then one more thing, under Totemic, Downpour now overrides Surging Totem for 22 seconds was 12 seconds. Okay, so if you are running the Totemic tree and you're not running Farseer, then it's pretty much the same change as this, just being worked into the Surging Totem, which is what activates your Healing Rain in the Totemic tree. So getting some buffs there under Totemic. And yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If I, missed anything, just let me know who you think kind of won this season in terms of changes. There's a lot of tuning that will probably happen in the PTR before now and when this is actually released in season 2. But just let me know if you're happy with the direction some of these changes are going. Let me know if there's a certain spec that isn't playing how you'd like it to play, looking at you, Holy Paladin. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this one. I think this has been a pretty long video. I'm not sure how long we've been recording, but regardless, thank you for sticking around to the end. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all in the next one.